talking about let digital fix the world. Before talking about digital, let's talk about this other word, fix, because it has a different meaning here in Germany and in Brazil. Again, have to come back here. Well, let's move on. Fix in Brazil, it's something completely different from you guys do here, because we are very, very good on improvising things. That's the way we do things. Brazilians are famous for that. So whenever we have a problem, we try to improvise the best way we can. So we even have a word for that. This word, gambiarra. That's a very Brazilian word. You cannot translate this to any other language. Actually, it's a Brazilian definition for the informal deviation of a technical knowledge. And the best way to translate is gambiarra is the Brazilian MacGyverism. We are all MacGyvers in Brazil, all around, in every single industry. So whenever you type gambiarra on Google, search for that, you're going to find some brilliant images like this one. That's how we solve problems in Brazil, you know? With everything that is around us. The one in the middle is perfect. When you travel around, you don't have the adapters. You can do something like this with, check this flip-flop. So that's the way we improvise things in Brazil. That's the meaning of the word fix there. Some other examples. Sorry for the audios, okay? We just change it a little bit. So in this one, we have soup for tonight, and we have only a fork. Let's solve it. Let's fix it. So that's the way we've been doing things in Brazil, improvising all the time. It's not the best way, but it's the Brazilian way. But talking again about this word, the word fix, I think when digital came, it got a new, completely different meaning. And now it must have a global meaning for this. That's what we want to do in Accenture Interactive. Give this new meaning for fix. Fix are future interactive experiences. It's all about experience now. We've been talking about this today. So I'm going to show you some examples, 5 examples, 5 innovative examples of how digital is fixing the world in the most remote places with different problems that you guys have here in Germany. Some of them, they are not even problems here, but they are on remote places. And I'm going to show some of them and how we can work together to fix the world, the whole world. First example, some of you guys might know here, I was at the Innovative Jury in Cannes this year, and this was the Grand Prix, because it's a brilliant idea. It's so simple, and it helped solve the internet problem in Colombia. Colombia have been around with the FARC, with the guerrilla for many years, but now they're gone. So Colombians are discovering remote places of their own country where there's no internet. And how can we speed up the internet implementation in these parts of the country? Because you know a lot of companies, Google and launching the looms, Facebook, the airplanes to connect the whole planet. But look what these guys did in Colombia using old technology. Let's check this.
Google. We use it for everything in our lives. Search for information, places, entertainment, literally everything. Unfortunately, many regions in Colombia are so remote that a lot of people still have no access to internet or smartphones. That's why many of them are still using legacy phones. How could we get those people closer to all the information they're missing? Introducing MyLine. A traditional telephone landline everyone can access, no matter the moment or the device.
MyLine brings the power of Google Assistant to anyone with access to a standard phone line. This inclusive technology makes search and artificial intelligence available to people without a smartphone or a computer. Using MyLine is incredibly simple. After placing a call to a regular local telephone number, the caller can ask Google Assistant a question. In just a second or two, we process the question in our custom software and connect with Google systems in the cloud. My line receives the response and speaks it back to the caller by phone.
¿Qué clima va a ser hoy?
Hoy va a haber 28 grados con tormenta eléctrica en Nuquí.
¿Quién descubrió América?
La reina Isabel de España permitió a Cristóbal Colón emprender un viaje en 3 carabelas, la Niña, la Pinta y la Santa María.
¿Cuándo es el partido de Colombia?
Colombia juega contra Japón el 19 de junio a las 7 de la mañana.
¿Qué ingredientes tiene el ajiaco?
3 clases de papa, pechuga de pollo o pierna pernil, mazorca, cebolla larga, guascas, aguacate y sal.
The line was promoted to encourage people to use it.
Con mi línea no va a existir ningún lugar en Colombia que no tenga acceso a la información, incluso donde no haya internet.
Now people can access information on the internet without having internet. Call in Colombia 6000913. My Line, a project by the Ministry of Technology and Communications of Colombia.
So if you cannot search, it's amazing, isn't it? And it's brutal simple. People that don't have internet, they can do searches on Google. Now they can call Google. And then Google will have this translate from text, from message to text, voice to text. And it's so simple. It's been around for years, but they found out a new way, a creative, an improvising way of using this technology. So it's, again, the Latin power of improvisation together with technology, helping solve people's daily problems. A problem that you guys don't have here, but they have in Colombia. And these areas in Colombia, they used to plant only cocaine. That's what they need. That was their survival there. Now they can do a lot of new things searching on the internet. So that's the first example. Example number 2, fix number 2. It's how they're helping deaf blind in India to talk to each other. Because until now, it was impossible to a deaf blind talk to another deaf blind without having someone together. It's impossible. But it is not. And they found out a way to make it happen using, again, a 108-year language, the Morse code, but applied to the mobile phone. Let's see this.
For the deafblind around the world, Protactile Sign Language is the only medium for interpersonal communication. The problem is, it requires physical contact with someone who can interpret. But what they badly need is a two-way communication tool that frees them from these invisible shackles. Introducing Good Vibes, words through vibrations. Smartphones are all around us, and they vibrate. Vibrations provide the much-needed tactile feedback to the deafblind, as they can feel what they can't see or hear. So we infused the smartphone with a 180-year-old language, Morse. Made up of just dots and dashes, Morse is a binary language that can be perfectly translated into 2 distinct tactile inputs: short tap and long press, and 2 distinct tactile outputs, short and long vibrations. Combinations of these inputs make words which, when transmitted as vibrations, can be felt and decoded by the deafblind. For the first time in human history, the deafblind have a two-way communication tool.
The app is working on the cheapest phones, a 4,000 rupee phone.
Vibration, I feel it is very good. This particular technology will also add to their privacy.
The way people accepted it and using it, it's awesome, incredible.
The Good Vibes project is sending a message of hope to our deafblind friends, and they're messaging back.
So again, another brutal, simple idea. And it's not about inventing something new. It's about reinventing the Morse code that's been around for years, for centuries. So that's whenever we think about innovation, about how doing different things, it's not about coming from scratch. Let's connect the dots to help solve these kinds of problems. Now, deaf blind can talk to each other alone, by themselves. So it's bringing privacy to these people again. They don't have privacy at all. So that's a way of fixing it. Example number, here are some things, you can search for it. It's amazing. So they are learning now Morse code to talk to each other. Really, really brilliant example, really brilliant case from India. Number 3, fixing the outdoors in Peru. Faraway places, and they have this highway that goes to the beach, so it's crowded by outdoors. It's terrible. It's visual pollution everywhere. So here it's more like an advertising thing, but made on a different way. And they found out a way to use the VR. That's, I think, one of the best uses of VR in Latin America so far, to help to entertain people when they are on traffic jams going to the beach, and so they can have a completely different consumer experience. So it's making up a new catalog, a new kind of catalog for products. Let's see this. So it's a way of hacking the highway, crowded by advertising, and people, they can't stand anymore so much advertising, so much visual impact everywhere, all the time. So that's a different way of doing this. You're replacing the billboards, the out-of-home communication, for an interactive solution using VR. Again, in Peru, faraway place, but that's a global idea. Every time we need to come up with what I call local solutions. They're local, they solve a local problem, but they can be implemented everywhere, like the one from Colombia. It may help solve problems in Africa and everywhere in the world. So this one was another example. Another very simple, again, the hijacked highway. You can search for it, very good execution. Another very simple example. Now from Ecuador. In Ecuador, like in Brazil, in many countries in Latin America, people still use the cylinder gas to heat, for the oven. And it's a problem because you never know when it's finishing. And if you have one or more of them in your house, there's another problem. It happens a lot at the favelas in Brazil, in Rio, because you have a lot of explosions. And fire goes on because people stock a lot of cylinders. So these guys in Ecuador, they manage a way to solve this problem, again, using digital, using the mobile phone. Again, a very brutal, simple solution that can be applied all over the world. Let's watch this.
tres componentes. El primero es el sensor de peso. Nos envía una señal al Arduino. Transmite ese peso en cuánto porcentaje de gas le queda a nuestra bombona. Nos hace llegar por señal Wi-Fi a nuestro celular.
Es una balanza digital inteligente que está conectada con una aplicación
para que usted pueda conocer cuándo se le va a terminar su cilindro.
Again, that's a problem that you guys might not have here in Germany, but they have in Ecuador in many countries, and it's really simple, really, really simple. You just have a scale under the cylinder that connects to your mobile phone and tells you when the gas is finishing. Simple like that. So again, digital helping solve daily problems of people all over the world. To finish, I'll give you guys an example we did in Brazil to solve a problem we have right now. Again, for those who want to search for it, really good one. Last example, fixing the loans in Brazil. Before, I have to give you guys a little masterclass about Brazil, the Brazil situation. It's a little bit difficult to understand, but I'll try to. But Brazil is facing a terrible moment. We have the worst economical crisis ever now, ever. People are in debt, people are unemployed. Terrible moment. And to get even worse, we didn't win the World Cup. At least we didn't lose to Germany this time by 7-1, thanks God. But that's the mood in Brazil right now. That could have saved the year, but it didn't. So we are on a mess now. And we also have a political issue in Brazil, a political terrible problem. I'm gonna try to explain you guys in 1 minute. We have the elections. Like now, 5 of October, we're electing the new president. So there are two main candidates running for this. The first one is the left-sided candidate, Lula, that used to be is our former president. He used to be our president, and he wants to come back, but then he got arrested by the police. He's in jail right now. The other one, the right-sided one, it's a guy called Bolsonaro, a guy that wants to give guns to people. He said, we have a lot of violence, so I will allow Brazilians to buy guns. So his trademarks like these signs. That's why he's called the Trump of the tropics. That's Bolsonaro. And what happened was, people cannot buy guns, but they still can buy knives. So 2 weeks ago, he was attacked by a guy with a knife in his belly. So he's in hospital right now. Still doing the trademark, but he's in hospital. He's recovering from the attack. So the situation is, one candidate is in jail. The other one is in hospital. The one that goes out first wins the election. That's Brazil. That's welcome to my country. So Brazil right now is like Neymar on the ground. That's where we are now. And it's very difficult for companies to position themselves in a scenario like this, especially for a bank from abroad, a Spanish bank, to get inside the Brazilian market. So we've partnered with them to reshape, to remake the name Santander. And they were very brave in doing this, because they said that's the way we have to approach people in this terrible situation. So instead of just like being a bank that gives money to people, whenever people need loan, I'm going to give you money. So it can become even worse because people don't have a way to buy, to give it back to the bank. So it's getting worse and worse the situation. So we came up with Santander and said, you guys have to be close to people. We have to humanize this relationship. It's not about being a bank, a traditional bank anymore. It's being side by side with people. So we did this case, and that's why it's called You Are Not Alone. It's about standing by people. Let's watch this.
Brazil is facing the worst economic crisis in its history, and Brazilians are in need of much more than just money. They need a bank that stands by them. So Accenture Interactive helped Santander to completely change its approach to give loans. It all started by conducting an immersion with clients to understand what they really expected from the bank, and the outcome was a complete journey with all the types of consumers' needs. So the first step was to redesign the auto finance experience from scratch with a new focus on car dealers and consumers. The new integrated solution gave more autonomy and agility for dealers to perform the financing operation 100% online through the desktop, tablet, or mobile. And instead of 5 days, the loan now only takes 25 minutes to be approved by the bank. As a result, the credit approval went up from 30% to 60%, and Santander went up from number 4 to number 1 on new car loans. So the bank decided to extend this new consumer-centric approach to all other products related to credit. And then we realized that the main consumers' pain points were all verbs that ended with the letters N, D, E, R. So we had the idea to position Santander as the bank that wants to understand your problems, to serve you better, to learn with you the best way to defend your heritage, to undertake with you to make your businesses sell more, to comprehend your needs, to surprise you. And then Santander became a verb that means much more than just giving loans to its clients. It means that you are not alone.
So it's a completely different positioning for a bank in a situation like this. And everything started by talking to people. Sometimes we forget this, but that's the main thing, putting the consumer in the center of everything. So together with Fjord, the design experience company that was acquired by Accenture Interactive, we've interviewed in Brazil a lot of people doing like dynamics to understand their approach on loans. What's the problem? What are their main pain points? Then we've designed the whole journey of everything they want to do, they need from a bank, from the beginning up to the end. And the first thing was to help people buy cars. In Brazil, we don't have like trains, and like here, we can go all around. We don't have this infrastructure. So people need cars to work and to go everywhere. It's a huge country, huge cities. São Paulo, where I live, we have 20 million people living there. So without a car, you actually cannot go around. But it's expensive to buy a car in Brazil. We have a lot of taxes. So people need the help of a bank to buy a car. So we designed, but it was a very bureaucratic thing. You have to buy a car, fill all the papers, and then to get a loan, you have to fill another bunch of papers to do this. So this app integrated both operations. So whenever you go to buy a car in Brazil, you just get to the front desk, give some information, it connects to Santander, and it approves a loan and sends to the vendor on the app of the vendor. So when the vendor approaches the client, he knows already how much money the bank will give to these people. So it then can help buy the exact car for it. And Santander went to number 1 in car loans in Brazil. And then we said, wow, this approach can work for any kind of loan. Houses, anything, health. So then came the advertising part. So it didn't start with the communication solution. It started with an app, an implementation, changing the consumer experience. And then we packaged this to announce for the consumers. That's the end of the story. That's how we call this action, end-to-brand case. And then we came up with this solution to remain the name of Santander. Santander now means a verb in Brazil. Let's Santander this. Let's solve this problem. Let's be together to solve it. And that's the kind of project we want to do in Accenture Interactive. That's why I moved to Accenture Interactive, to help solve people's daily problems. It's not only about the advertising anymore. It's not about talking. It's about doing. It's about helping people. It's about being together with them. So we believe that by creating future interactive experiences is the best way to fix the world. So that's what we have to do together. Thank you so much, guys.